Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. The SNP is always pleading poverty, and it's always spending other people's money, even on things it shouldn't be spending that money on. It's spending taxpayers' money on things that are quite clearly party political. For example, the independence campaign. It's constantly putting the leaflets out. It's employing a government minister. It's got a whole team of people. The total cost is probably running somewhere in the region of £2 million a year. But this is purely party political. This is not governmental, especially as independence is a reserved matter and it does not come under the aegis of the Scottish Government. That's £2 million a year of public money that ought to be going into things like the NHS or education. And they are using it to spread their political message. It's quite wrong. It's possibly criminally wrong. But others are seeing it now, and you're getting the Advocate General even being asked about it and pledging to do something and to inquire why it is allowed to happen. I think criminal charges may well stop it. But probably not. This is the SNP. They'll probably get away with it. But we'll have a look at the article anyway. We'll look at the clowns and bozos that are currently running Scotland as their own personal fiefdom. Here goes. So the SNP's improper expenditure is now under the microscope as the Advocate General is set to get involved. Lord Foulkes said he had been stopped by people at Tynecastle Stadium complaining about the amount of money the Scottish Government is spending in reserved areas. Big Hearts fan then, is he? Oh, and look, there they are, the triumvirate of dumb. Was it Jamie Hebburn, Humza Yousaf, and of course the world's worst Shona Robertson, a woman who can't even spell her own name. She lost the end. She lost the use of that end, didn't she? God, she's awful. She's thick as two short planks. Anyway, the Advocate General, who did she used to be married to? Oh, I can't think of his name. Anyway, the Advocate General for Scotland has been urged to act to stop the SNP government wasting taxpayer cash on reserved issues. And it comes after Humza Yousaf created a Minister for Independence role for JB Hebburn, which comes with a £98,000 salary, plus expenses, plus all the other stuff that goes with it. It's probably somewhere in the region of about £130,000 a year. But it's purely party political. They don't have the competency to have an independence referendum. It's not their decision to make. It's also not the settled will of the people. Why is the party paying £100,000 a year out, or £130,000 a year out of public funds for something that cannot be delivered by them? And even the minister says he cannot deliver it because it's not within their competency. This is a purely party political role. It needs to be banned. It needs to be stopped. And they need to claw back every penny paid to him because it's illegally paid. He's not a minister. There is no Minister for Independence because they don't have the right to do it. So it's quite wrong there. Anyway, the SNP Green administration also has a team of over 20 civil servants working on breaking up the UK at a cost of 1.4 million a year. So you take that 1.4 million a year plus the overhead, because that's only the salaries. You've got to think the building costs and everything. Plus your Jamie Hebburn, you're getting on 1.6, 1.7 million a year. Plus you're doing the cost of all these leaflets and things. It's getting close to £2 million a year for a party political matter. Why are the people who don't vote for the SNP being forced to pay for SNP party political matters? It should be illegal. And they must be forced to pay it back. It must come out of party funds. Let's see that happen. That would be brilliant, wouldn't it? The Supreme Court, this is the cost, despite the Supreme Court confirming last year that the Constitution is a reserved matter. Therefore, they shouldn't be doing it. Labour peer George Foulkes has been campaigning for the UK government to intervene on what he calls improper expenditure by the Scottish Government. Yeah, when the government of Scotland is paying money out of taxpayers' money for party political funds, it's got to clearly be an illegal use of public money. Someone's got to go to jail for it, and at the very least, the party must repay every single penny. And even if it bankrupts the party, tough. Nobody would cry over it. He raised the issue again in the House of Lords this week as he urged Lord Stewart of Durlton to see if something can be done. Speaking at a Constitution Committee, Lord Foulkes criticised the decision to create the ministerial role when there is clearly not going to be a referendum and when constitutional matters are not devolved to the Scottish Parliament and the Scottish Government, and when it is clearly a political campaign. Excuse me. Lord Stewart responded, saying his job was to patrol the margins of the devolution settlement and to do our best to ensure that the devolved administrations act within the terms of their competence. He added, the manner in which the Scottish Government or other devolved administrations choose to spend the money that they get from central government is first and foremost a matter for them. But where they exceed their responsibilities, we can step in. So he is confirming that they are able to step in because they've overstepped their authority. Now, if they're appointing at public expense a minister, but based on a party political matter, that is clearly misuse of public funds and clearly somewhere that they should be able to step in and say, no, you must not do that. He must not be paid at public expense. And any monies paid to him right now should be repaid to the public purse from party funds. And then watch their little faces because they haven't got anything close to approaching the amount of money for that. Lord Stewart used the example of Angus Robertson having his wings clipped by Foreign Office diplomats after he tried to use overseas jollies to push the case for Skexit. Lord Foulkes applauded that, but said people had been stopping him in the streets and at Tynecastle Park, home of his beloved Hearts FC, I said that, to complain about money being spent on the team of civil servants. He added, you should have the powers to do something about it. The permanent secretary sits on Simon's case meeting every week with all the permanent secretaries. He is part of the civil service. Surely there must be some way they can be told how this expenditure is improper. There are other areas that are underfunded. Health, education, transport, social care. List is endless. Lord Stewart gave an undertaking that he would follow it up, and also having experienced people complaining about Holyrood spending, he said, I may say that I have had the same experience as Lord Foulkes, although it is a while since I've been at Tynecastle. Nonetheless, he says, I have experience of being challenged as to the apparent exceeding of its powers by Holyrood in the relation to that and to other matters. So it is filtering through. People are starting to see not only the money, but the abuse of power and the power grabbing that is going on, the power inflation that the Scottish Government think they're going to get away with. But it's starting now to be questioned, and the reins are starting to be pulled back. Angus Robertson being an example. Anyway, he continued. I can give the committee this assurance that although we work with the devolved administrations in good faith, and that overwhelmingly our engagement is positive with them at an official as well as a ministerial level, we are not blind to the possibilities that, for political reasons, they will seek to test the parameters of that devolution settlement, and we are on our guard to make sure that does not happen. And that must mean that they're aware that they must clip the wings in again, but this time of Jamie Hebburn and the SNP's attempt to get the public to pay for all their, independence propaganda, effectively. Lord Stewart was appointed Advocate General for Scotland in 2020. The role was created by the Scotland Act for somebody to act as the chief legal advisor to the UK Government on Scots law. The Scottish Government has previously defended its spending on constitutional issues, claiming there is a mandate for a second independence referendum, although quite clearly there isn't, because there is no mandate. How is there possibly a mandate when the majority of Scots say no? So it is absolutely a load of old rubbish. They're just testing the water, and hopefully their fingers will be burnt. And they need to pull this back and rein it back and get the money back and watch the SNP crumble as they are forced to repay every damn penny. I shall stop there and I shall come up. I mean, you'd hate to see it, wouldn't you? I mean, it would just break your heart if the SNP were forced to pay back all that money and it bankrupted them. There'd be street parties, wouldn't there? There'd be up and down the country. There'd be people out dancing, drinking, celebrating, laughing. There'd be a couple of glum faces from the foaming at the mouth, wild-eyed loons. but most people would be satisfied, I think. Here's hoping. Probably won't though. Let's be honest. Reality, it probably won't. But if they do get the guy fired and get rid of Hebben and save 100,000 a year and close down the other things that, and save maybe 2 million a year off that push and push it into somewhere nice, like, educational health service, who knows what could be achieved. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you've seen here on the channel, do please hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like. Please share the video and remember that they're all bastards. Till next time, stay safe, stay well, and always vote anything other than SNP. Goodbye.